You probably think you know the deal with January 26th, right? But what if the story we all learn hides something way more important? A moment when the entire future of a brand new nation was just hanging by a thread.
So picture this. It's the stroke of midnight, January 26th, 1950. And in that one moment, the destiny of over 300 million people is on the line.
But here's the thing. There was no gunshot. No invading armies, no sirens blaring in the streets. The biggest danger to India, it wasn't coming from the outside at all.
No, something much more dangerous was happening. Silently, without anyone really seeing it, India was right on the brink of complete collapse. The real fight, well, that was for its soul.
Okay, so what was this crisis really? Well, it all starts by questioning the one date every single Indian knows by heart. Look, we all celebrate August 15th, 1947. You know the scene. Flags go up, big speeches are made, but here's the hidden truth, the part we often miss. India was free, but it wasn't sovereign, and there's a huge difference. And get this really drives the point home. For almost 3 entire years after independence, Indians were still being governed by laws written by the British. The King of England was technically still the head of state. Think about that. Freedom had arrived, sure, but the power? Not yet, not even close.
And that lack of real sovereignty, it left the new nation in this incredibly fragile position. A nation still in chains.
I mean, this metaphor is just perfect, isn't it? It's like India was this massive ship with a brand new captain, but it was stuck with an old colonial steering wheel. The entire control system was designed by and for the old bosses. So yeah, on paper, India was independent, but in reality, still in chains.
And on top of that, just look at the pressure cooker this nation was in. It was an unfinished country sitting on a ticking time bomb. You've got hundreds of languages, thousands of castes, a bunch of different religions, plus the fresh, brutal wounds of partition with millions of people displaced. I mean, one wrong move, just one, and the whole thing could have just shattered. So this all led to what was maybe the most dangerous task in the country's entire history. How do you create a single rulebook, a single constitution to hold all of this chaos together?
And this was the huge, terrifying question they had to answer. Who should actually control India? Should it be a few powerful, educated elites, or should you give that power to every single citizen, no matter who they are? And you know, the rest of the world was watching, and they were basically betting on failure. Experts were openly saying India would just fall apart. And right into the middle of all this chaos steps Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He's the guy who has to write this rulebook. And he didn't come from privilege, you know? He wasn't part of the in crowd. But he had this core belief, right here. He believed that political freedom without social justice, well, it's just a lie. The weight of an entire nation was basically on his shoulder.
And believe me, this was not some polite little discussion. Behind closed doors, the debates were absolutely brutal. Should everyone get to vote, or just the educated? Should the state be tied to one religion? And what do you do about caste? Do you acknowledge it in the law, or pretend it doesn't exist? Every single question was a minefield.
And this went on for 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. Just think about that length of time. And the scariest part, there was no plan B. If this didn't work, that might have been it for India as a single country.
So why January 26th specifically? Why that date? The answer actually goes back 20 years to a promise that was made.
Okay, this timeline lays it all out. Way back on January 26, 1930, independence leaders declared their goal was something called Pune Swaraj. Fast forward exactly 20 years later to the very same day, and they made good on that promise by bringing the new constitution into force. This date wasn't an accident, it was a powerful symbol.
And this term, Purna Swaraj, is so important. It means complete self-rule. We're not talking about just symbolic freedom. We're talking about the complete, total authority for a people to control their own destiny, to write their own story.
So, with that promise finally fulfilled, India did something it adopted, probably the most radical idea in its entire history.
And here it is. This is the single most revolutionary idea in the whole document. India didn't get a new king. It didn't hand power over to some new group of elites. No, it made a bold, almost crazy decision that the ultimate authority belongs to the people.
And this wasn't just some nice-sounding phrase, you know? It had real-world consequences.
It meant a farmer's vote was suddenly worth just as much as an industrialist's. A woman's voice became equal to a man's, and the rights of a Dalit, someone from the most oppressed communities, were now actually protected by law. For that time, this was just revolutionary.
Which, of course, brings us to today, and to the responsibility that we all have because of that power.
Think about it. Every right you might take for granted, the right to speak your mind, the right to vote, the right to demand equality, the right to question the people in charge, all of it exists because of the choices made back then. These weren't just gifts handed down. They were designed specifically as a defense, as a safeguard against tyranny.
So if there's one single thing to take away from all this, it's this simple difference. August 15th gave the country of India its freedom, but January 26th, that's the day that gave the people of India their power. And that leaves us with one last, really crucial thought. The biggest danger to a country like this isn't some outside threat. It's us, forgetting. Forgetting that this power we have is a shield. Because make no mistake, power, if it's ignored by the people, it always, always gets taken back.